They're worse off today than
nothing.
we were before.
A lot of talk, not so much action. He made a lot of promises, and I don't know what promises he actually kept.
The only promise that he kept was to fundamentally transform this country.
Well, that's true.
But
that's true.
He forgot.
He did do that.
What he failed to tell everybody is that fundamental transformation was going to leave the African American community behind. Because if he was honest and told them about it, they wouldn't. I'm sure that half of them at least would not have voted for him. But he didn't tell them that, so they thought, well, yeah, he looks like me, he kind of sounds like me, and we've never had anybody that looks and sounds like me before, so we're gonna vote for him. And now,
I remember
that was a big mistake.
Yeah, I remember back in the mid-2000s, probably maybe 2006, 2007, I remember Oprah used to have Obama on the show all the time. I'm like, oh, dear God, no, I know where this is heading, And when he ran for office the first time, I could see why a lot of people would support him. The way that he talked, the things that he promised, and not to mention, honestly, having the first African-American president. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big historical deal. That alone proves how far this country has come. And that's why, since he's gotten elected, and we have all this racial divide, I mean, maybe it's been there the whole time, but I mean, it is really front and center now. And it's really sad and unfortunate, because I thought, as a white person, I thought, wow, we're all getting along. You remember Rodney King, why can't we all get along? And we were actually starting to all be friends, get along, whatever. And now the past, 7, 8 years, it's been a complete disaster.
Now let me ask you, do you think that Donald Trump can be that uniter that Obama promised to be?
Absolutely, because I think he's really going to change the focus of what the administration stands for. I think he's going to be a great jobs president. Absolutely, he will be a great jobs president. And I really believe that, despite all this racist talk about him, he hates immigrants. 2 of his wives are foreign-born women. I've been married twice. Both of my husbands were born in different countries. And, I mean, this whole immigration talk, we all hate immigrants. It's nonsense. It's complete nonsense. He understands what the rest of us understand, and that is we can't just leave the borders wide open and not know who the hell is coming into our country. This has been a very big problem here in California. We're obviously on the Mexican border. And, like over here in our state, I think why California is really big on Trump is because as an American, and especially a white person and an English-only speaking person, people like me have been turned down for really good jobs because we don't speak Spanish, or, maybe because we're not Hispanic. The other 50 different languages, that's a requirement. You're not going to get a job here. So not saying that Trump can go state by state and change that, but I think he's going to put a real focus on putting Americans back to work, bringing jobs back here, bringing manufacturing back. I mean, come on, we all know you go to any store, you're not going to find a lot of stuff that's made in America anymore.
Yeah, he's going to build that wall, though. Donald J. Trump's going to build that wall.
And you know what's funny, when he said, I'm going to make Mexico pay for it, I could easily see how he could do that, because we send Mexico so much money and so much aid. Hey, let's just take it out of that, and that's it. So I could really see Mexico ended up paying for that wall. And hey, I'm not opposed to having cheap Mexican labor building it. Are you? Hey, whatever it takes, right? If they can build on their side, who knows?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure I'd want the Mexicans actually building it, because I'm sure they'd probably try to throw in some nice secret tunnels underneath it. But
yeah,
that's a good point. Well, and
they are already doing that. In case you don't know that, they have tons a lot here. I'm not sure if they've done that in Mexico, in Texas, because you have the river there, but there might be some parts where they've done. But we found a lot of tunnels here on our border, and a lot of drugs coming in, murders, just like he says, Did you ever notice every time Donald Trump says something and people are all freaked out by it, it comes true? Isn't that just bizarre? The guy's like psychic or something, you know. But
he's just a man.
I think it's going to be great. I think, and the thing with Donald Trump, one more thing I want to say is this. Now, I like Cruz and Trump, and if I had to pick a third, it might be Rand Paul. Not really sure about that, but anyway. So you think about if you put Trump and Cruz out front. Okay, so maybe one of them can beat the other, obviously, but against Hillary Clinton, I don't think Cruz can beat Clinton, and the reason why is because Cruz, again, he's a great guy, great politician, he has the right idea, but who on the left is going to vote for him? Nobody, you know, and how is he going to get all the independent support that's needed? Because a lot of Republicans have left the party, such as myself, and they are now independents, so they have no allegiance to the GOP whatsoever. So I think people really need to pay attention to this thing with who can win on a national level, take Democrat votes, take independents, and we know most registered Republicans are going to vote for Trump either way because that's just how it is. So people really need to think about that.
I think you just invented a new acronym, if you will, without even realizing it. And I when you said it, I'm listening, and I'm thinking, that's their campaign slogan. If you got Trump and Cruz together, you've got truce, and that's a form of truth, right? Love it. I can't help it. I pat myself in the back for that one. But I didn't invent it. You did. So pat yourself in the back.
I'll take credit for it. Great. Well, hey, I love your show, and thanks for having me on the show. And what are your hours of your show, by the way?
They are they're as I've been reminding people all month long. They're changing Wednesday, January the 6th. We will be on 9 a.m. to noon Eastern time. So that's kind of early for Californians out there, I think.
Hey, I'm up early. I'll be here. I'll be here listening.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye now.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. Well, yeah, there you go. A Trump supporter, folks. Gotta love, that these people that like Trump, they really like Donald. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of turning sweet on the man myself, politically speaking. Now, he's got a lot going on. He says, and Cruz, he says the right things. He often seems to try to do the right things, but there's just that professional politician. And you know what? This is not the era in this country of the professional politician. I think that is the big problem with the Democrats, is they don't have a non-politician available, let alone running. Not a good one available. So they're stuck with people like O'Malley and Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Now, frankly, I think any Republican, if they were the candidate, could absolutely decimate Hillary Clinton. The only reason they wouldn't or couldn't is if they did not take off the gloves. And that would be a problem for some of the guys on the Republican side. Now, if you want to talk about, Carly Fiorina and Hillary Clinton, well, cat fight. Oh, my. I would just like to see that matchup just for, grins and giggles. I'm just kidding. Well, I better not say that kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah, that would be a tremendous political battle. But I think most of the candidates that are still in would really hit Clinton. Would not hold. I think Cruz and Trump would decimate her on her record, on Benghazi, on her emails. I just don't. I think people would end up voting for her, and maybe this is the factor that they're bringing into consideration. I think people after she got bloodied by a Republican candidate Trump or Republican candidate Cruz, or a couple of the other candidates, people might just vote for her out of sheer sympathy. Oh, poor Hillary, man. They're so mean to her. Oh, we should vote for her because they're just so mean. How can you be so mean to a woman? And I know that is what some of the Republicans are thinking. But I gotta tell you, I wouldn't feel bad at all. If I'm in there, if I'm running for president and I'm the Republican nominee and I'm up against Hillary Clinton, I wouldn't care if she's a woman. Now, I'm a gentleman and all, and I believe in chivalry, in being chivalrous. But hey, this is about the future of our country. I would unleash everything I had at her all the time. I would decimate her. You know, I would make it so it would be like Mike Tyson fighting an amateur out of the stands. I would just beat the piss out of her. And while I was beating the piss out of her, politically speaking now, folks, not physically, while I was beating the piss out of her, I'd be devastating the what's left of the Democratic Party. I would bury them. I would not care because we're talking about the future of our country. And if you listen to this show long enough, you know I bury them anyway. Why do you think that if you haven't been with me since 2009, then you don't realize that towards the earlier part of the show, history of this program, and you can go back to Blog Talk Radio and pick up a lot of those shows from 2009, 10, 11. And you'll listen to me take on some of these liberal callers. I don't hold anything back. It's why they don't call today. That's why they don't try to populate and take over any of my social media. Because I call them out and I crush them. And that's what you have to do every single time you come up against a liberal. You just give them logic and fact, logic and fact, fact and logic, fact and logic. Just be Data from Star Trek. And you will decimate them because they have nothing to come back at you with. It's all emotion. All they're going to do in less than 60 seconds, if you just stick to the facts, they will resort to calling you names. Which means right then and there, they know they've lost the argument. They've got nothing else. So they're just going to try to save face and just call you a name. And I know when somebody calls me a name like that, I keep going. It's like taking that stick and poking. You keep poking them. You keep poking. You keep poking. Because this is just too important. The fate of this nation, not just for us, but for our posterity, is too important. It's too important. We can't afford 4 or 8 years of Hillary. I think it would only, if she were somehow, were elected, it would be only 4. But God forbid, it'd be another 4 years of Barack Obama. I mean, she's already out there saying that she'd be doing basically the same thing that Obama's talking about. Gun control. ISIS. Well, we don't have a real policy for ISIS. But there's more terrorists than ISIS out there. And you just can't put troops on the ground to kill ISIS. Yeah, you can. But hey, that would be the continuation of the failed policy of Barack Hussein Obama. That would be Hillary Clinton, and I'm not sure that we would really survive. I'm with Trump. bomb the hell out of them.